we go. I don't know. I said I wasn't the host. Who knows? Okay. So Sammy is our guest speaker, and we are recording now. So I gave you guys some tidbits, little hints about Sammy. I did not mention the fact she's a teacher because I knew that right away. She teaches fourth grade, right? I knew that right away people would guess. She is a dog mom. She is engaged, the love of her life. They're getting married in October. Yes.
Yep.
And she is the most entertaining, down-to-earth, fun, and fabulous person to follow on social media. I love following her stories. I pretty much just love her as a person through and through. And the reason I asked her to speak on this call is because she is a total badass and is crushing her business. She's been a coach for 22 months and has hit Success Club every single month. And she is recruiting. You guys have seen her numbers. She's hitting big numbers for Success Club, big numbers for coaches she's signing. And she is super busy and she's doing something right. So she's like, what do you want me to talk about? And I was like, whatever you're doing that's working. And how fabulous you are. I want you to talk about how fabulous you are. So that is what I want Sammy to talk about because she is incredible. And I know we are all wondering what the heck it is that she is doing. So now she's going to tell us, and we are all going to be as amazing as Sammy if we are lucky. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her take it from here. Sound good? I'm
Awesome.
so excited to see so many beautiful faces on this call. Yay! All right. Sammy, your turn. I'm going to mute myself.
If you guys could see my sweat right now, my sweat is like, I always talk about on my team calls how I like always sweat, and we do like a sweat meter from the beginning of the call to the end of the call. So know that I'm sweating right now, you guys. Yeah, like literally. Oh my gosh. So I have the blessing of knowing a lot of you in person. I've met a lot of you in person, or you're on my team, and I'm so excited that you're here and can hopefully maybe share even a little bit about what it's like to be kind of on the opposite end of my recruiting. But just coming off of January, you guys, like I'm super fired up to do this call because January was the best month my team has had ever. Like I'm going to give them a huge shout out just to even start, because not only like am I doing some of these things, but now they are duplicating a lot of them. Last month we had, between me and my downline coaches, we added 15 coaches to our team, which was literally like, I was doing the team shout outs yesterday and I wanted to cry because I was like, this is so awesome. This is the biggest month we've ever had. We had more coaches hit Success Club than we've ever had. And so I was really excited to kind of get to share some of the things that we're doing and hopefully be able to help some of you duplicate that for yourself. I know Jess had asked me to kind of talk about like, what are the things that you're doing that we can also be doing? And so I'm going to kind of start off with that. And I always stem this thought kind of back to when we were at Summit this past July. And one of the coaches that I follow like very religiously, and it's not in a way that like I'm jealous of her and I like envy her, but it's in a way that I strive to run my business similar to her because I admire how she does it. If some of you don't follow Sammy Glonick, her Instagram handle is Short Girl Fitness. Her sister is Jamie Ennis. I follow her pretty religiously just because I admire so much about how she builds her team. And those are the things that I was kind of like learning from, pulling from. And when we were back at Summit, she said something that stuck with me so much. And it wasn't that until I started putting that into action a couple months ago that I really started to see the benefit of it. And she said the thing that stuck with me the most was, how are people going to know they want to join your team if you are not showing them what it's like to be on your team? And I think that's something that just stuck out to me so much. And then I thought about it, and I remember thinking about it back at Summit. And then of course, like the world gets crazy and you write a million things down and you want to do all of the things and certain things get lost. And that was one thing that unfortunately in my long notes of things and takeaways was something that I always was like, yeah, you know, like I want to do this, but I don't really know how. And then I rethought about it again. And around like October time, I was like, you know what? No, like I need to put this into action. I need to put this thought of showing people what it's like to be on my team and giving people that FOMO of being on my team. I need to put this into action. And so one thing that I started doing that completely changed my business was I started showing people more of what my coaching life was like. I started showing them where I was working. I started showing them what I was doing when I was working. I started showing them my team. And the more that I started sharing about it, the more interest that I had in coaching. And I think that was just a huge testament to the more you share about it, the more interest people are going to get out of what you're posting and what you're posting on your stories and on your feed. I don't post a whole lot on my feed necessarily about my team, but those also aren't the people that I'm connecting with on a personal level. So I would say, like, if you were to watch my story on any given day, I really try to, highlight the different things that I do when I am a coach. And not only that, but we all know there are so many misconceptions about coaching out there. We all know that. The more that you can share with people about what you do as a coach, the more those misconceptions become completely put in the dirt, because they can see the things that you're doing and they can see the things that you're sharing. And then those misconceptions can go out the window, because you can be like, no, like, you've been watching my story, you've been watching the things I've been doing, and you don't get as much of that pushback because people can see what you're doing. I think the other thing that was so huge for me, especially with the recruiting piece of it, was not only did I get the chance to see Sammy speak in Summit, but then I also got the chance to see her speak at our Super Saturday this past Super Saturday, Super Friday, whatever the day was. And I think when I saw that it was her who was coming, I got like super excited, because I was like, you know what, like, she's someone who I admire so much. And she said two things at that Super Saturday that I'm going to share with you guys. And I know my team has already heard this a couple times because I did a call for them on this too. But she said two things. The first thing was, we all know the value of what this opportunity has. We all know that. We all have a different value for it in our lives and the things that it's provided for us. So in that, you should be so freaking confident in what you have to offer someone being on your team, that the devastation of someone potentially saying no to you doesn't even exist, because you are so confident in what this has provided for yourself and so confident in sharing it with someone else that it shouldn't even cross your mind to be nervous that they're going to say no, because of how much it's done for you or how much it's changed your life. And I was like, you know what, like, that's so true. And that's also kind of stemming back to that, like, you should be so excited for people to join your team. They should be excited to join your team. It kind of built off that a little bit for me. And it also makes inviting to coaching a whole lot easier when you kind of get that nervous piece out of the way, because you're so confident in what you have to offer someone. And then the third thing that she talked about that was just like such a huge takeaway for me was the birthday party analogy. And if you were there, you probably remember. If you're on my team, you probably remember. But she gave this analogy of when you're inviting someone to a birthday party and how it relates to how we invite people to the coaching opportunity or to a challenge group. And it's so true, because I definitely used to do this, and I think it's a Minnesotan thing, a northern person thing, but we automatically apologize for the things that we do before we even do them. And so her whole thing about the birthday party was, there's 3 ways to invite someone to your birthday party. The first one would to be just put, a generic invite that you make as a Facebook post and say, hey, come to my birthday party. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. This is the time. This is the place. Hope I can see you there. How many people scroll past and say, yeah, like, that's just another generic invite? Not very many people would probably go. The second way to invite someone is to message them and say, hey, like, we've been talking for a while. My birthday party is coming up, and we're going to go to this place, and we're going to eat pizza, and we're going to do this. And it's going to be a lot of fun, but you don't have to come if you don't want to. And I feel like that is such a thing that we do when we invite people is, but if you're not interested, it's okay. And how does that feel coming off on the other end? It's like, if you invited me to your birthday party and then said, oh, it's okay if you don't come, I really don't want to come. I'm not going to be excited to get there, because it doesn't really sound like you want me there. And it's the same for inviting. It's, if you're already apologizing, saying, well, it's okay if you're not interested, you're already discounting that they might be interested. And so then taking it that next step and saying, this is my birthday party. It's going to be so much fun. I'm turning 25. We're going to go and we're going to take Scooby snack shots, and it's going to be a blast. I really would love if you would be there. I really would love if you would come and join us. And that just has such a more positive take on it, and it gives them a more positive feeling of like, yeah, maybe I really do want to go. That sounds like a lot of fun. And so taking that and putting that into coaching invites, instead of giving them that automatic out with saying, it's okay if you're not interested, and instead switching it to, no, I would really, really love for you to join us. And if you've done the work and made that genuine connection with people beforehand and had conversations with them beforehand, that invite and that meaning behind, like, I would love for you to join us, or I think this would be an awesome opportunity to have you on our team with us, comes off way better and not as apologetic. So that's kind of like the action items that I've switched when I've been talking to people about coaching. And then the big question that everyone always has is expanding to social media. How do you find people who want to work? How do you find working coaches? And I came up and I was talking to Megan this weekend with this idea, and Courtney a couple times too. So I've come up with this new method of following people. And it's totally changed the amount of follows back that I've gotten and helped me expand a lot in followers that way. It's called the Down the Rabbit Hole. And the reason why it's called Down the Rabbit Hole is because you can literally go down the rabbit hole for like hours on end if you really let yourself, but it's at least in a productive way. So it makes following really easy. It gives the people that you're following commonalities with you already right away. And it's kind of runs like this. So you go to your news feed. You find, a person whose picture is on there who is not a coach and who is not someone in your challenge group and who is not someone that you've already invited in the past. So they probably have a picture. You followed them for some reason. Maybe they are also a dog mom. Maybe they're also a parent. Maybe they have kids who are in soccer, whatever you have that are kind of part of your persona. And you look at their picture and you go to the people who have liked that picture. And I scroll through and I find someone to follow because they have liked that picture. They are a friend of that person that I have followed. Then they probably already have something in common with that person who you followed because you also have something in common with them. So you find that person, that new person to follow them, go to their first picture. It's probably something that you have something in common with. See the people who have liked that picture. Follow someone who has liked that picture. Go to that person's profile. Pick one of their top pictures. Go to the people who have liked that picture. And it keeps on going. And you can get so far down the rabbit hole that it is not even funny. And then eventually when you get out of it, you have to go back all the way through it. But at least you know that the people that you're following, you already have something in common with. And more than likely, they are not followed by other coaches on your team. Because I think that's also something that we fall into is oh, this person's already being followed by Courtney, or this person's always already being followed by Sierra, or this person's already being followed by so-and-so. But because of the fact that you're stemming from people who are in no way affiliated to you already, and you're going down pretty much their friend rabbit hole and the friends of friend rabbit hole and so on and so forth, you find a whole new group of people who have no affiliation with anyone else and who already more than likely have something in common with you, which is huge. So that has completely changed the way of people following me back and being able to have those genuine conversations with people. And I don't search hashtags anymore. I don't look at locations. I don't do any of that because those have completely been taken over by coaching. And this is a completely different avenue for me that I've found to be pretty successful. And also another thought that I always think to myself when I follow them is, could this person be a coach on my team? And if I think, yeah, this person could totally rock it on my team. They are similar to me. They're similar to some of the girls on our team. And I'm not saying you have to only have similar people on your team, but it does make it a lot more comfortable and easy to invite them to coaching. So I always, when I'm looking at people's profile, I'm could they be a coach on my team? And I think that mentality has also changed why my recruiting numbers have been larger, is because when I'm looking at people, I'm thinking, could this person do this? Could this person be a coach on our team, even a discount coach? Could they add to our team somehow? If the answer is yes, then those are the people that I base my follows off of. Any questions or thoughts on those two pieces of it before I kind of get into more of how to invite people?
When you go down the rabbit hole, do you interact with those people or just follow them and then kind of go from there?
That's a good question. So I usually like their first 3 or 4 posts and follow them and then move on to the next person. I always watch their story before I follow them, obviously, to make sure they're not a coach. But this, or like aren't, already doing something that wouldn't benefit my time to spend time with them. But so I like 3 or 4 pictures. I follow them. If their story has something on it that like, I'm like, hey, I have that sweatshirt, or that's a really cute picture of those shoes, or wow, like they're a teacher too, or whatever, because you do already have some commonalities with them. If there's something that I can genuinely and authentically comment on in their story, then I will send them a message that way, or on a post. Like if they posted, I've been getting a lot of like soon to be brides naturally. So like if they post something about like, oh, our wedding is in 200 days, I'll comment on that picture and be like, oh my gosh, like ours is in, this many days or whatever. And just like get that communication kind of going. But other than that, like I don't like go out of my way to do anything extra. Yeah. Any other questions or things on that? No? Okay. So now I'm going to kind of get into when I do coach invites and getting coaches signed up and stuff. My team knows this about me, but I am the like queen of having the blunt and honest conversations with people. I, like you said, I like kind of am like a no shit kind of person. Like I tell it as it is. And, I try to get to the be all end all as quick as I can, because most of the time we know like people have these pent up excuses and they can have a million reasons not to do something. But I am very much a person who is like, I'm not going to sit here and waste my time beating around the bush with you. Like, that's not my game. That's not my personality. I'm not going to do it. So not only does it confuse them and confuse you with like, should I be spending the time to follow up with this person? And we kind of have figured that out now, as long as we've all been coaches. And even if you're just kind of starting out, you can kind of see like when someone's kind of like, oh, like maybe, or, like they're someone who you want to follow up with to make sure that, they are still interested in stuff. But a lot of times it's that people don't want to confront their excuses about things. And so I think that's something that I have tried to do a lot of work in like getting around. So when I'm having conversations with people about their excuses, sometimes, and depending on the person, I kind of just say like, hey, like these are the things that like you could be doing to like combat that excuse. Or these are like, if it's a, like I really just like don't think I have the time. I'm like, well, like we're all working full time. Like if you really want to, like you can do it. And it's just having that conversation of like, no, you could, or here are your options, and giving them kind of that no out unless they really don't want to do it. And then it'd be the conversation of, if you're really like, if you really are not interested, like I can take you off my list. It's fine. Bless and release. And so I kind of have those hard conversations with people just because I don't want to waste their time and confuse them. I don't want to waste my time and confuse myself. But then having that hard conversation also just helps you be able to put time and effort into the people who not necessarily deserve it more. That's not really the right word I'm looking for, but the people who will be of a bigger benefit for you and for them to spend more of your time and energy on. So get to the bottom of those misconceptions and those excuses as quickly as you feel comfortable. But obviously, the quicker you can get there, then the easier it makes it for you. And then the other thing that I do to try to kind of bring up the coaching opportunity for people is I try to find every single little nook and cranny I can to bring up coaching without quite inviting them yet. So like an example is like if someone comments on the book I'm reading, the PD book, I'll message them back and I'll say, hey, like my team is reading this and we really love it. Like it's been a really good book for my team to read. And then more often than not, they're like, oh, what team? Like, what are you talking about? And they ask a question about it. Another example is like if someone posts something about traveling. So many people are posting things about traveling right now because it's like getting into spring break time. But I comment on a lot of people's things that they post about traveling on their stories, and they say, oh my gosh, like my team is going to Punta Cana in a month. And that's an automatic A, connection to what they're doing, but then B, an easy way to connect coaching to what they're doing and bring it up that way instead of it just being like a, hey, you should join my team. It's like, no, oh, my team's going there. That's really exciting. Another one that I really like to do is location. So like if the person lives in Florida, sorry, Courtney or Sam, but I always like, I'm like, hey, like I have a couple girls on my team that live in Florida, or I have a couple girls on my team who live in Wisconsin or wherever else. And just kind of like trying to slip it in that way without it being awkward, without it being like oh, now I get to bring up coaching. It's like, no, it just kind of slips into these different things. And then you can gauge how interested they are. And if they ask about it, I've had quite a few people who, once I do that, they'll ask a question about it. And then my my biggest go-to phrase, and most of you probably know this, is no excuses. Like that is my, like if I could have that branded on my body, like in even more permanent than a tattoo, like I think I would. And the way to kind of help people also get over those, get over those different excuses that they have is to be an example of someone with no excuses. Yes, excuses are like assholes. When Rachel Hollis said that at Summit, I was like ready to stand up and like throw a firework on stage. Um, but I think it's a huge testament if you kind of live this persona of like, I'm not going to let things get in my way. I'm not going to let things stop me. Like there are so many people who tell me that they can't be a coach because they're planning a wedding or moving. And I'm like, you guys, what do you think I am doing? I moved in March during the school year. Like, I know what that feels like. So it's like, if you can live into this, like, no excuses, be that example of what that looks like for you, then when people try to give that to you, it's like, no, like this is not an excuse right now, for at least for them to not be able to give it to you as an excuse because they can see that you've done it and gone through it. I don't think I get anyone. I used to get people who would tell me they couldn't join a challenge group because they were a teacher. And I was like, really? Okay. But now, like, the more that I've shared about that and the more I've kind of shown, like, no, like, I might have 10 minutes in a day, I might have 20 minutes in a day, but I can still get it done. So you can't even tell me that you couldn't get it done too. And the only reason they know that is by you sharing that on your story, and not necessarily sharing, oh, I don't do excuses, but it's more just like living them out and like proving them out in the things that you're doing. The last thing that I'm quickly going to talk about is team culture, because that was kind of the last piece that Jess had wanted to know kind of what's going on. Huge testament to it is here on this call right now. We have so many of our team on here, which is so awesome. And oh, they literally make me cry like on the daily basis. So I'm going to try not to cry. But one thing that we've been doing recently that's been really helpful for a lot of coaches, especially new coaches, is we've been doing a coach challenge of the day. And the girls are split into pods, whether they're working on hitting emerald or working on hitting diamond. And I post, it's just like a Facebook message thread. And I posted a training slide that I made. So if you want the slides, you can email me and I'll email them to you. But I made one for emerald and I made one for diamond, just kind of outlining, what it is, how you work towards it, the action steps needed to get there, those different things. And then in each of their threads every morning or every afternoon, I post a coach challenge of the day. And so, for example, today's was, follow 10 new people and try to interact with them if you can. Yesterday's was post our picture of our retreat in Florida, post the picture that we shared, and put a little slide bar on your Instagram story and like message the people who slide it. Talk about Florida, talk about beaches, talk about whatever. And so every day there's just these little things that hopefully will help them kind of get into those coaching habits. And I know I'm going to shout out Kayla because she's a busy mom of 4 and she works and she freaking does every single coach challenge of the day that she's able to do and freaking rocks it. So yeah, claps to her because she is doing awesome. But it's just those little things that for those coaches who are like, I don't know what to do, or if you want them to be duplicating some of the things that you're doing, I recommend doing a coach challenge of the day. It's been really helpful. And it takes me like literally a minute to type in that little box, maybe even not even that. So that's been huge. So that's been kind of like the new push group thing that we've been doing. Another thing that I like to do is when I have days off of school, I do an entire day of mentorship calls. And it is like the best but longest day ever because I have like a whole time slot where they can sign up for like different 20-minute time slots to just like chat one-on-one, talk about where they're at, talk about their questions. And that's been huge. I did that a lot over break. I did it on Martin Luther King Day. I'm going to do it on President's Day. So my team, if you want to call, be ready for that. But I like to do those at least my plan is to do them once a month, and they have for December and January. So that should continue for February and beyond. And then find out what motivates your teams. Ours really like experience things is what Courtney and I have kind of found out. And so we have planned this team retreat, and we're going to have where you have to earn it. You have to do all these things, and we're doing team pictures, and we're doing all these different experience things. And that's what's been motivating to them. So if that's what motivates your team, great. If there are other things that motivate them, I know I'm a big Hallie used to talk about being a swag hoe. I'm definitely like kind of a little bit of a swag hoe, I'm going to be honest. Like that luggage bag, I'm all about that. But yeah, it's been really nice to have kind of that push of like earning a trip and earning different things. One thing too, and this will be kind of my last thing, is your job is to bring excitement and vision to your team. That is our job as the coach and leader of our team. And I think the more that I've kind of stepped into that and made that realization of, if things are like dull and boring, find different things to be excited about. Change what is not working and get excited about it. Paint that vision for your team and freaking jump into it, because A, you don't have anything to lose, and B, the more excited you are about it, the more excited they are going to be about it. And it's the same with teaching. I know I have a couple teachers on here too. If I tell my kids, we're going to play a vocab game today, and I tell it to them like that, they get so freaking excited, and it's literally a sentence with a blank word on the board, and they have to fill in the blank. So it's not like this huge exciting thing, but the more excited I'm about it, the more excited they are about it. And it's the same with your team. The more excited you are about things, the bigger vision you can paint for them, the more that they're going to be into it and play into it too. So that's kind of my last piece of it. I know I said I would do 30 minutes, and that was pretty close. Trying to keep like time. Let's see my sweat. Oh, you guys can't even really see it. I tried to wear a light shirt so you couldn't see it. But yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions or things that they want to ask.
I'm going to jump in and ask the first question. First of all, you were amazing, and I feel like so inspired and equally inadequate at the same time. And everyone else is just me. Okay. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I love that you gave me action steps. But my question is, and I'm just being bossy and stealing the first question, is how do you work? Do you work in like pockets? Do you work in a power hour? I'm thinking of going down the rabbit hole, and literally like for me, like how long that would take to go through the rabbit hole. Like kind of explain to us what your day looks like.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Is anybody else doing that, or is it just me?
I mean, I see some head nods. Okay, so my day, and this has changed in the past 3 weeks. If you watch my stories, I've been getting up at 5 a.m. religiously for the past 3 weeks. And Courtney is my testament to this, because she knows from rooming with me on the cruise that I am the least, like if you think you are not a morning person and you are on this call, I swear to God, I will outbeat you for not being a morning person. Joel Freeman's abs and ass could not even get me out of bed on the cruise with a smile on my face. So when I say I'm not a morning person, I'm not BSing you. And I was like, you know what, Sammy? Like I was going to work and I was so stressed about all of them. I call my phone a war zone when it has like 1,000 million notifications on it. And I'm so OCD type A that like I can't turn the notifications off. Like that's not going to solve my problem. So I leave them on, and then I say my phone looks like a war zone because I have all these red bubbles all over the place. And I would go to work in the morning with my phone being a war zone, and all day I'd be thinking about, I need to message this person. I need to say this to this person. I need to set this person up with a share card. And I just had this like running anxious list of things in my head. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. If I'm going to build this business to be able to be full time, I need to get my ass up at 5 a.m. in the morning and get shit done before I go to work. And so I have started getting up at 5 a.m. I hop on with the girls. I make my coffee. I usually don't like start doing actual things until about 5:20. And then I respond to messages, respond to comments, look through stories and respond to stories. I make a couple of my own stories in the process, and then I get things done for my team. So I focus on what am I going to post in the team page today? What kind of value is that going to bring them today? Are there things for my coaches that I need to help them or give them? Like, am I setting someone up in our challenge group, like entering their email for them? Do I have questions for my coaches that I need to answer? I work on some of the different like documents and training things that I've provided for them. And I do that until 6:30. 6:30, I read PD for half an hour, and then I get ready for school and I leave for the day. When I'm at school, I try to be at school for as much as possible. No one tell my school district, but sometimes during prep time I do respond to messages. Don't tell anyone. I get all my stuff done for the school day, so it's fine. It's not like that's lacking. But I do some like message responding during prep time if it's like an emergent, like if things are urgent. Other than that, then I get home, I drink pre-workout, I work out. While I'm waiting to work out, I answer messages and do some of that. And then evenings, depending on, what's going on in my evening, I play volleyball twice a week, planning a wedding, parent-teacher conferences every now and then, all these things. But I am very much a power pocket person. So like when I have those chunks of time throughout my evening, throughout my day, I know at this point what I can get done in that piece of time. For the rabbit hole question, usually I set myself a timer for the rabbit hole. So if I'm like, I only have 20 minutes to spend in the rabbit hole, here's my 20-minute timer, I'm going to go in the rabbit hole for 20 minutes. Or the other option would be to set a limit for how many people you follow. So if you say, I want to follow 10 people, go down the rabbit hole for 5 minutes and you've followed 10 people. It's really a quick way to do it, which is why I've liked it so much, because it takes away that like searching for people through hashtags and searching through people for whatever else, and then figuring out if they're a coach or not, and then all that kind of stuff. So it's expedited that follow process. So set timers or set like limits is what Brooke found out this morning. I don't know if Brooke is still on here, but she texted me, she's like, I'm down the rabbit hole for like 30 minutes by now. I had to set a timer. But yeah, so that hopefully answered that question a little bit. Power Pockets is my jam. I love them. Any other questions? I think there's some chats. Oh, yeah. Bye, Courtney. Any other questions people had? My team knows I awkward dance when I'm doing wait time, so this is what we get.
You guys, you can't underestimate the power of a teacher with wait time.
Seriously.
Sammy and I could wait. I'm not a teacher anymore, but Sammy and I could wait all day.
Yeah. The thing is, it like doesn't make us uncomfortable either. Like that's really the thing. Yeah, I know. I kind of threw a lot of information, but I tried to give you as much info as I could in a short amount of time. Bye, Bree.
The info was incredible. Seriously.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I could hopefully help.
Gail says she's struggling to get people to want to coach. Lots of excuses. Any tips on that?
I think one thing that's helped me is just not only like showing people what you do when you are a coach, because the more I can show like I'm doing this and I have 10 minutes, or I'm doing this and I'm getting up early and I'm doing a little bit before work, or I'm, filling this time in when, no joke, you guys, I wanted to do this post forever and I probably should now, but I want to take a picture of myself sitting on the toilet and be like, guys, just so you know, half your messages come from here. Like, you can be a coach as you're taking a poop. Like, I don't know. So I've wanted to do one like that, but just kind of showing not necessarily how easy it is, but where it can fit into everyone's lifestyle, I think is huge. Not only that, but then also like kind of thinking about being the example of not giving into excuses, and being the example of, I live a busy life and I'm still doing this within all of these things. And it's not like I'm spending a whole lot of time doing it, but I'm doing it and this is what it's producing, type of thing. Yeah, Brooke said her following went up 50 in a week because of the Chic Planner. We both got the Chic Planner and the rabbit hole. So that's that. Yeah, and Kayla said like being authentic also helps. I think a lot of us do a pretty good job of that though too. Yeah. Have more structured plan for power pockets. Oh, Gail, this is a great tip for you because this is what I struggled with too. This planner, I can send you the link if you want. It's called the Day Designer, and it literally has you time block out your entire morning. So like let's see, that was today. That was kind of a so like here, like I'll give you an example. So like I time block out like this is what I'm doing during this half hour. This is what I'm doing during this half hour. This is what I'm doing. And this is the first thing I do in the morning. So like I know what the whole day looks like from point A of my day.
Sammy, will you post a link to that in Rockstars?
And yeah, I will. I've loved this. A couple girls on my team got this too, and it's really nice. Just for me, like I needed that like block out of like this is what I'm doing for this 30 minutes. This is what I'm doing for this 30 minutes, and that helped so much. My brain is a rabbit hole. Yeah.
Rabbit hole too, girl.
Yeah. Talk about saving to a collection on Instagram. So Nicole was talking about, she was on a call with Amanda Dewey, and Amanda was telling her about how, you know, if there's people that you are following who you think would be good coaches, but you are not to the point of like actually getting to an invite because you don't know them well enough, you can actually save their post and put it into a folder in your saved post. So it can become like here are my people who could be on like a follow-up list of coaching or could be on an invite list of like joining a challenge group or joining coaching. And that's kind of helped, you know, keep those people kind of in the loop, even though they're not like quite ready for an invite to anything yet. And flag messages is another thing that I do too to kind of help organize my inbox a little bit.
How do you track your people?
So I use, Brooke just kind of posted about it too. Flag messages are like my go-to. It's the easiest way that I've found where I'm not writing down a million names and losing lists of people and ripping out lists of people and carrying it with me to a coffee shop and all this stuff. So in my flagged messages in Instagram, so you can do where you flag a message. I flag the messages of every single person that I'm going to follow up with. And you can also put them in a general or a primary. So everyone who is either on our team or who is someone I've invited that has said no, or is someone who is already in our challenge group, they go in my general mailbox. And then the primary mailbox are people who either I'm first interacting with, or they are people who I haven't invited yet but want to. And then within those flagged groups are people who I have invited who I have to follow up with, or people who I've invited to coaching that haven't gotten back to me yet. So then when I go on Instagram, I can like filter my inbox to just show me my flagged ones. And then when I have like when I'm doing follow-ups, I can just look through all those flagged messages and send away based on who's in that list of people.
Sammy, is your account on business or personal?
It's on business.
Okay. So to have the flag stuff, you have to have a business account?
I'm going to assume yes. I don't really know because I haven't ever tried it with a personal account. So
I just looked and I couldn't find it. So I'm like, and when I was on that call with them the other day with Bridget, and we were talking about business and personal, and I feel like I should go back to business.
Yeah, it's really nice, especially because now when you look through like your insights and stuff, like when I'm filling out my Chic planner, that book, that's where I find out all that info too. And so that's been really helpful. But yeah, I have mine as a business account right now. And that's been really, like with the messages, I don't do any sort of pen and paper tracking at all. It is all in my phone, electronic. If there are people who I'm like, oh, I need to remember to follow up with them today, like I'll write those ones down when they're like specific dates. But for the most part, it's more just like, check back with me next month, or like, check back with me in a week, you know, those kind of generic ones. So those are the people who are flagged that then I can go back, and when I'm doing follow-ups, I look through those and see, okay, like who do I need to hit today? Or these people I haven't talked to in a while, but they were interested. Let's bring them back in the loop and kind of
Sammy, can I add something?
Yeah.
So with the collections thing too, so when you're going through and you're saving photos on new people that you're following, like when I go through the rabbit hole, I'll save someone to a collection. So right now we're in February. So I have a new collection for this month called March Invites. So I'm going to continuously follow these people for a whole month and get to know them and interact and comment and all of that stuff for a whole month. And then in March, I'm going to start really working on inviting them. So that's like a really easy way to track things on Instagram without pen and paper. And it's literally divided out to months. Not saying that come April, if they still haven't signed up, you can still go back to your March people, but then at least you can kind of unsave things as people join or like give you the hard no or whatever they end up doing. And it's just an easier way when you're not having like inbox conversations all the time, or it's just an easy way to go back and make sure you're seeing their daily updates, because it's hard to make it through that many people's posts every day.
Yeah, no, totally. Any other questions?
Sammy, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy life to connect with all of us. Seriously, this call had so much value and so much inspiration and so much energy, and I think I speak for everybody here saying how grateful I am for you to take the time to.
I'm happy to do it. I was excited that you asked me because this is kind of like my first big call. Like
I'm super honored that you said yes. So that's a real big deal, girl. Real big deal.
Now I'm really sweaty. Maybe.
I see it.
Yep, you can see it.
Yeah. Guys, I know that I speak for Sammy when I say that you can feel free to reach out to her or reach out to me to connect you with Sammy, although there's a lot of everybody here knows you. So nobody's going to be shy about reaching out.
Please don't.
Hop over to Rockstars, and I'm going to have some trivia. I still need to send out my gift from last month for trivia, but I promise you I'll do both this month. And I'm just super excited to give you some questions and draw a winner. And I am just beyond humbled and excited that Sammy took the time to talk to us. And I think we all had some great takeaways. So thank you, girl.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Keep shining bright. You're doing an amazing job.
Thanks.
Bye, ladies. And I'll see you over on Rockstar Team Spirit if you want a chance to win something from my trivia. All right. Bye, guys.